Right, now it's time for our conversation. We're having a conversation with our guest in the studio has a very fascinating story that I'm sure you'd all love to hear. And it will inspire all of us to always aim higher and seek to advance from our current positions. Dr. Seidu Fiter, he's an assistant lecturer, UDS, and a member of the NDC National Communication Team as well. Good morning to you, Doc. How are you?
Didi. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well. Happy New Year. Since I'm meeting you for the first time and it's a new year.
Yes.
We can only hope for the better.
The year is still fresh.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But we hope for the best.
Okay, so yes. We'll start from the basics.
Right.
Dr. Seidu Fiter.
Yes.
Who is he? Who are you?
Okay, my name is Seidu. You know, I got a doctor later, so my name is Seidu.
Seidu Fiter.
And my father, late father, who died in August last year, may his soul rest in perfect peace, was Mohammed. But he was a bicycle mechanic.
Okay.
When I was growing up, that was what I saw him do. And, you know, back at the primary school, at the basic level, you do myself, which is constant. They want to know more about you, your complexion, to see whether you know your height, etc. So most of my friends who were so shy to mention the profession of their parents, some claim their parents were pilots. One that I know typically who said the father was a pilot, and I knew the father was into firewood business.
Oh, Lord.
You know, but I was bold enough to be frank and bold to mention that my father was a bicycle fitter. And all of them, I mean, it turned into laughter.
Oh.
You know, but instead of discouraging me, it rather encouraged me to fight for more. So that one day when they mentioned my profession, my children mentioned my profession in their classroom, their colleagues will clap hands for them. But how bad is it for you to be born, raised by a bicycle fitter? How bad is it?
Yeah.
And, you know, this is the world we live in today where people live fake lives. They want to portray a certain picture to the world, which is not a true reflection of they and their families. But now, from then, I kept on fighting. It was not easy anyway.
Okay. So, wait, you mentioned that you wrote in that small autobiography.
Yes.
That your father was a bicycle fitter, right?
Yes.
So is a fitter your actual name, or you adopted it?
I adopted it.
You adopted it because of the
I decided
vehicle.
to add the name to my name.
Okay.
To remind me of where I am coming from.
Okay.
To continue to keep me humble.
Okay.
No matter the elevation I gain in life. So I know that, look, this is where I'm coming from. So whenever I meet a son of a bicycle fitter, then I understand their journey better.
Okay.
Right. So the fitter is just to inspire me.
Okay.
But I didn't know that it was going to short me to fame.
Okay.
Because probably you have heard a lot of Seidus, but not Seidu Fiter.
Yes.
This
but
is the first time.
At what point did you adopt the name?
At the junior high school.
Junior high school.
At the junior high school.
Okay.
Because when we got there, we continued to see this fake, you know, representation of people. But I kept on reminding myself that, look, you cannot fake yourself.
Okay.
If I pretend to be a son of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama,
And
when
you are
he
not.
dies, I cannot inherit his properties.
That's true.
It means I'm just living in a world of my own. So, fast forward, I attended largely Saito schools. I went to Kulukuli School.
Okay.
It is a Presbyterian school, but it was called Kulukuli School because back in the north, they were trying to put, you know, some policies in place to encourage people to go to school.
They were sharing kulikuli at school?
Kulikuli at school to encourage people to come. And this is a school the current education minister, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, attended. A school the current environment minister, Honorable Murtala Mohammed, attended. A school the former roads and highways minister, Honorable Yunus Afuseni, attended. So it was a privilege in a ways. But as at then, we had schools like Dahan Shelley and Co, Gary Alasan, Gariba, which were the popular and schools that rich people, children attended. I went to Billy Block B and then moved to Vitin Senior High School. I got to Ghana Secondary School,
Okay.
the former school of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I got home economics, but the fee was 95 Ghana cedi.
Home economics.
Home economics.
Is it a mixed school?
Yes, it's a mixed school.
Okay.
Yes, 95 Ghana cedis. My father could not raise that.
Oh dear.
Vitin Senior High School, technical, 45 Ghana cedi. He couldn't raise that. But
that was then 450.
I think so. I think
450 cedis.
That was around the year 2000.
Yes.
You
Before
know.
the redenomination.
Yes. You know, around 1989, we were sent to the primary school. You know, so I did the technical. I completed in 2003.
Okay.
Results good, but to push myself to, you know, tertiary was now becoming a problem. So my father had an announcement on Radio Savannah. That was the only radio station within the northern region. The first radio station in the northern region. They announced to pick security men at the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Okay.
Just look at my body now, and you can imagine how I would have looked around 2004.
You're more petite then.
Yes. So I applied. I went for the first interview, around 103 people, and I was the youngest. You know, when they announce for security, you know the age group that will come in for the interview.
And the physique.
Some do cannot write application letters, but they'll write for them. So we went in for the interview. They trimmed us down to 50 people. The second batch I was part, and then I went again. They trimmed us down to 10. I was fortunate to be part of the 10 who qualified to become security men.
Okay.
The then chief executive officer by name George Atampugri, he cracked a joke in the room, and everyone laughed. He said, "Seidu, look at you. As small as you are, if we pick you as a security man, when a thief comes to the bungalow to steal, you'll be the first property it will steal before it." You know, and then something dawned on him to create a unit called Porter's Unit.
Okay.
Porters.
They are usually the ones at the entrance, right?
At the entrance. So when you come with a patient who cannot walk, we put the patient on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And a patient who could not even sit, we put the patient on a trolley.
Okay.
And you know, at this unit, you meet a lot of patients with terrible conditions.
Sure.
Some they bring them half dead, some completely dead, and you have to be the first person to receive them. And I have seen a lot of death cases. People died in my hands, and colleagues. And you know, the one thing about Ghanaians is that when you are doing your best to survive legitimately, people begin to mock at you. People begin to call you names using your profession. So my colleagues were calling me a little mortuary man. That didn't deter me. I was encouraged them more, because at the end of the month, I had something I could lay my hands on. Though the salary was not coming as it was supposed to, at the end of January, your salary will come on the 15th of February, 15 Ghana cedis. But I was trying to survive on that. So I worked there for 2 years as a porter, and later, this man came with a wife for a service at the gynecology department. I helped him, parked his motorbike, and jumped the queue. The doctor had, you know, time with the wife. It didn't take time, and they saw a medical doctor. The man was very happy, because when he came in and saw the crowd, he thought he was going to delay for more than an hour. Now, that was the breaking point. That was what took me out. The Tamale Teaching Hospital. He told me they introduced a new program called Youth Employment Program, under which they had a category for, you know, auxiliary nurses. And by then, mind you, I had my resource. I just came out from the senior high school, and I was ready to venture into any field, whether go to school or venture into any field of interest. The man picked me as a auxiliary health nurse, and I practiced for 2 years, and then I exited to the Polytechnic, where I did my DBS, Diploma in Business Studies. I continued to apply to do my HND accountancy in my second year. And mind you, my background is science. In my second year, something pricked me to get back into the health system or the health service. So I applied to do medicine or nursing. And I wanted to pursue the nursing and progress to do anesthesia. Right. Now, I was not fortunate, because within that year, the competition was very high.
Very tight.
I came with aggregate 11 applying for nursing, and some came with even aggregate 6, and they were denied. Because the competition was so keen. But I got my way to pursue biomedical laboratory sciences as a first degree. And in my fourth year, they introduced Doctor of Medical Laboratory Sciences. So I had to proceed and do the 2 years top up, making it 6 years. And that gave me the Doctor of Medical Laboratory Sciences. So when I came out, I didn't get a job. I mean, I was jobless until I decided to pursue my master's in public health, majoring into maternal and child health. So in my first year, I was the course rep. I went to, and by then I was already into politics.
Okay.
By then I was already into politics.
How did you get in through school?
Come again?
Did you get into politics through school?
No, I was into politics before I went to the university.
Okay.
So even in my first year, I was the vice president for the Biomedical Lab Sciences Students Association.
Okay.
Second year, I became the Central SRC PRO, and again became the Northern Students Union president, which I served for 2 years. Then after the first degree, I continued with my master's. I was in class one morning. I went to class very early, and for me, when it comes to time, I am a respecter of time.
Yeah.
I don't live like that black man. When you ask me, by 7 o'clock I was here, but you gave me 8:30.
Sure.
But by 7 I was already here.
Yeah.
I was in the car outside waiting for the time
To come
because it is not pleasant for us to always abuse time, because
true.
time is money, I believe.
That's true.
Now I got a call from my younger brother, who, when I picked up the call, he asked me, but haven't you seen a call from so and so? He told me he called you 3 times yesterday, you didn't pick up. He called twice this morning, you didn't pick up. And I told him, probably because I don't have his number, because I have seen many calls which are strange numbers, but I have called many back. I am sure I have not gotten to his number yet. He texted me and told me it is an emergency, I should call the person. I did, and he told me to meet him in the night and gave me a location. After my lecture, around 4 o'clock, I met him up. And that was the breaking point. He told me, Seidu, they designed a course at the university, and I am looking at giving you 3 slots to lecture. But I tried reaching out to you since yesterday, and my HOD was also pushing me for a timetable. So I gave your name out. So we have allocated 3 courses to you. Can you? And I said, come on, if from a bicycle fitter, but my first professional job, I am saying professional job because I learned as a skill was blacksmithing.
Okay.
I was a blacksmith. I learned blacksmith job at the age of 5 years I started. And getting to 14, 15 years, I joined a carpentry shop. Then later became a welder, which I passed very well. And that is why today I can't even walk in the sun without a photochromic lens. The rays affected my eyes.
Oh, okay.
Now, so I told him, I am a survivor. I have struggled. If education had not given me a route to escape poverty, I would have been in maybe Libya, Spain, or somewhere, because I was thinking of going by road. My mother stopped me. At a point, I even tried military. We got to Pusiga, then we were disqualified because of height. I've tried so many things, my hands on so many things.
Yeah.
So when he gave me that opportunity, I think I excelled. The university was monitoring, and at a point, they asked me to go back, get the MPhil before they can employ me fully into the university. So they stopped it. I became unemployed for a short period of time. When I finished with my, master's, and I was waiting for my certificate, a portal was opened again for us to apply for employment at the university. I applied as research assistant, but because of my certificate, I was not going to be a research assistant, but a principal research assistant. At that level, you have research assistant, you have senior research assistant, you have principal research assistant, before you get to assistant lecturer. But because I came with a 6-year degree, I was elevated to a principal research assistant.
You are more than qualified.
Yes, after acquiring my MPhil, I was promoted to an assistant lecturer. And that is how I got to this level. So from the level of a security, a porter, a Zoom nurse, they were calling them, to an assistant lecturer within a space of a short, I think a space of 6 years. Yes, and all to the grace of God. It's just about the determination
Absolutely.
and believing in your journey.
And at a certain point, did you at any point at all think that, well, this is not for me? Let me just stick to what I have at the moment and be content with it.
I've always been appreciative of where God has brought me. I keep on telling myself that Seidu is a lucky person. Now, you know, all the time, you don't have to look at those who are ahead of you for a certain unnecessary competition.
We all have our own journeys.
You have to look back, look at those you started with and where they are now. I started at the primary with certain people, colleagues. Most of them today are not in school. Most of them stopped at the primary school. When I went to the junior high school, most of my colleagues, they couldn't continue to the senior high school. And sad to say that I even met colleagues at the senior high school, and 2 of them are on the streets of Tamale as mad people. I should thank God that I am still in the right frame of mind and I am progressing by time. The journey is God's own, and I am always grateful to Him for bringing me this far. I have never been in a competition with anyone. I always compete with my old self, and that is how I appreciate my successes. Yeah.
And so, how has teaching at UDS been? You are an assistant lecturer
Yes,
at UDS.
I'm an assistant lecturer.
When did you start?
I started around 2021.
2021.
It's been 5 years now.
Okay.
I started in 2021.
Yeah.
The oldest person in my class in 2021 was 58 years. You know, I was imagining lecturing someone who is qualified enough to be my father. And I handled them well. I believe it is an opportunity to humble you the more. When you are in a class or you get the opportunity to lecture, you are teaching people who one day you are going to rely on to help you. You are teaching people whose parents are very, very much influential to open certain gates for you, which would have been hard for you to open with your status as a lecturer or whatever. You are lecturing a class where people are of the same qualification as you. And when you stand before a class, there are 3 categories of people you meet. Now, first one are those who are not as knowledgeable as you. You are a bit elevated above them. You are standing in front of people who you are at par, at the same level with. And the third batch are those who are more knowledgeable than you. They just need direction from you to get to the exit point. So you don't see it as an opportunity to bully people. It is just an opportunity to grow you, to become more humble, to train people who one day are going to be your walking stick, to make the path easy for you to knock at doors and enter. So it has been a very good experience from 2021 till date. And no matter the opportunities I get, I always feel like the class is the best place to be.
And, you know, you being at UDS,
right,
and also being a member of the communication team for the NDC.
Sure.
We'll talk about politics a bit.
Right.
But let's stay with the education sector for now.
Right.
How are things faring at the university? Especially with the students coming in from the senior high school level to the university. Last week, I had a conversation with some lecturers from the Africa University College of Communication and Business. Now, formerly AUCC, now AUCB. And they're talking about how these days it appears as though many of the students that come in from the senior high school to the university are half-baked. They attribute it to, one, some of the students wanting to put in the work, and also a systemic failure where we don't have, well-qualified teachers in some of these institutions, and also contact hours also being limited. You are also a lecturer at UDS. What is the situation there like?
Now, believe me, the education system in Ghana now is not in a good shape.
Okay.
We always concentrate much on tertiary education than the basic level.
Yeah.
Forgetting that it is the basic level that feeds the tertiary level.
Mm-hmm.
Because without a basic level, there wouldn't be tertiary education.
No.
And when I say tertiary, I mean nurses, teachers, training colleges, and universities.
Mm-hmm.
We only get our products from the basic level.
Mm-hmm.
And the basic level, I mean from primary, junior high school to senior high school. Now, you look at the system and what they produce for the tertiary institutions, become sad. Reason is that we rush to implement many policies, and the policies tend to haunt us, and we tend to blame ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to blame the system because we think they will tag you to one political party or the other.
Or the other.
But if you fear to be tagged as a lecturer, you cannot be honest with the situation on the ground. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the junior high school level, especially you come to the northern region, I am not sure a student can concentrate properly to learn and write an examination to pass if the student is lying on the tummy in class. It is difficult. A student cannot concentrate and learn to write an examination and pass if the student lacks furniture in the classroom and have to sit on the window to listen to the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
A teacher cannot also teach properly and examine students if the teacher lacks textbooks.
Yes.
Because there should be a reference material. And the reference material is the textbook for the student. If a teacher is holding one, the students should also have their copies. So when you are leading them, they know what you are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The material that is at the junior high school is always new to the one who is coming from the primary school.
Yes.
So for example, you are coming to hear for the first time mouse in your life, but there's no practical example of a mouse for you to feel it and know this is a mouse. You are coming to learn ICT, and there's no computer laboratory at the junior high school. And in fact, the teacher don't even have a first-hand information about a laptop. And I am sure your station also carried news about a teacher, an ICT teacher, drawing a laptop on a blackboard to teach students.
Yeah.
Practically, this student cannot operate a laptop when you hand over one to him or her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this student is supposed to learn this for 3 years and come to write an examination. Furthermore, GES, they have their standard. We have 35 or 33 to a teacher. That is the ratio.
Yeah.
But now you go to the junior high school and you can see 90 students in a class to a teacher. Assessing them is very difficult for you. Now, it is time for them to write their BEC because government knows that they have not gotten proper tuition, but they can't sit back for their results to come out. Then people will blame them for poor, organization at the junior high school. They then go and buy past questions for them to write. Regardless of buying the past questions for them, some of them would learn these past questions, believing that the same questions will appear at the BEC examination hall. Mm-hmm. When they come and they don't see that, they fail the examination. And if you remember, years back, students went to write BEC examination. What they learned in the past questions didn't appear. They made a video and they were insulting the president sadly. I'm sure you saw the video.
Yeah, saw that.
The students were sacked, but I asked myself, where were they sacking them from? These are students who are already done with their junior high school level. Will they progress to the senior high school level? Now, most of them, there was a directive that no student should be repeated at the junior high school level.
So
push them to the senior high school. So these are the same, in quote, garbage you are pushing to the senior high school, right? In the past, there was a category of people who were qualified for category A schools, category B, C, D, and E schools. Mm-hmm. For example, you need to acquire a grade 6 to 9 to get posted to a category A school.
A school, yeah.
Example, Accra Academy, Tamasco, Ganasco, etc. Now, a student who even gets aggregate 40 is very hopeful that they can get category A because there's something we call fee-free without quality. Without proper assessment, we just push the students to go. But there should have been a cutoff point when you get beyond aggregate 25. During those days when we wrote our senior high school certificate examination,
SSCA.
when you even get aggregate 20, you are so shy to even take it home because your parents will not be happy
at all
with you. But today, students will get aggregate 40 and they automatically will be posted to category A schools. Now, these same students at the end of their WASI, and you would have expected that at the senior high school, strict measures will be employed to make sure that these students learn, they write, and genuinely come out with results. Two things happen. Two things.
Yeah.
One, when they are writing their final SSC examination, and something I expect the current government and Minister for Education to monitor and change. We tag teachers as invigilators for MPP and invigilators for NDC.
Really? It's
The reason, when you are strict on the students in the examination hall, you are tagged as an NDC invigilator because they thought that you wanted the students to fail. Because without copying, they know the students cannot pass the examination. Because these are the same garbage, for example, passed from the junior high school level to senior high school level.
Okay, so instead of garbage, let's make it half-baked. Half-baked students.
Are they baked at all?
Let's make it half-baked.
No, and I'll give you reasons. And I am saying garbage as in quotation marks.
Yes.
They are not even baked at all. And I'll give you more reason. Now, these are students who are pushed, and it gets to a point where, according to information we are picking, that some teachers will even write on the blackboard for this student to copy
the answers.
The answers. When the results are coming in, sometimes you ask yourself, because you see, we know these students, we know ourselves. For example, in your area, you know a student who finds it very difficult to even write the name or construct a complete sentence. And this is a student at the end of the day come and show you aggregate 6 as a result. Now, the second problem is that we now have organizations. They will find a structure, calling it a school, and give it a name and register it as a business. At the end of the day, students will have to pay money in excess of 5,000 to 6,000 Ghana cedis. They will register them, no tuition. You will just sit in the house. When it is time for examination, you come to the center. They write for you to copy. And at the end of the day, you see the results and you can't even pronounce the name of the school. Now, these are the hard truths. You can't even pronounce the name of the school. It is not registered, but they have results coming from those schools. You pick these schools, these students, and deny those who genuinely come with aggregate 20 or 25 into the university. And you know what UDS is doing now? We have a system.
Yeah.
When you are coming for the sciences, for example, you are coming to pursue public health, nursing, medicine, doctor of optometry, laboratory, PharmD, human biology, we organize an oral examination for you. First of all, you write a written exam. If you are able to pass the written exam, then you proceed to oral.
Okay.
And in most cases, you admit over 1,000 students to write this written examination, and only 50 or 100 of them will pass the examination. Because this one is strictly monitored by independent lecturers. No government can influence a lecturer. You probably may be able to do it at a senior high school level, but not at the university level. Are you with me? Now, why are we conducting the examination? If we pass you to come in and we offer you admission as a nurse, and we even help you or we favor you to pass through and become a nurse at the hospital. Now, if you are a lecturer and you taught such a student and you know you favored her or him to pass, you collapse and you wake up in front of the student, what will come to your mind?
You will be terrified, I'm sure. But people change for the better.
No, not that easy. Because you don't play gamble with the health system.
No.
Okay? Now, these are students, when they come in, I'll give you one example. A friend told me that at his university, he was invigilating an examination and monitoring. Mm-hmm. He got to a student, and the student was using a pen. First of all, he was using a pen to write on a scannable form. And you and I know, at the BC level and WASE level, we use scannables. Mm-hmm. Do you use pens to write on scannable form? Mm-hmm. So how did the student get to the university and even using pen on a scannable?
Yeah.
Now this student could not even spell the name of the university she was at writing the exams. Now, a university you are attending, and you cannot even write the name of the university. How did you get to the university? Is it not embarrassing?
Well, you see, some people don't do well with examinations.
It's not about examination. Write the name, for example, if you cannot spell Starr FM, you are not qualified to work here now. Let's not be romantic with the kids. You are working at Starr FM, mm-hmm. and you cannot spell Starr FM, simple Starr. I mean, then how did you apply to come here? Because you should have known where you were applying to work. Mm-hmm. If you are going to a school, for example, I attended UDS. I did my first degree at UDS, second first degree, and my second degree, right? Mm-hmm. It is not possible for me to have difficulty in spelling University for Development Studies. You understand? Yeah. And the problem is not at the university. And now the other system we are implementing at the University for Development Studies is that when you come to the university and after your first trimester, we run a 3-trimester system. Unlike University of Ghana, that runs a semester, like UCC, which runs a semester. We run a trimester. Now, if you fail up to 4 courses, and in the beginning of the trimester, and you come to register, mm-hmm. the system will repeat you.
Automatically.
If you fail 5 courses, the system will draw you automatically. It's not going to be a human being who is telling you, please, you are withdrawn, then you can beg the person to allow you through the system. It's just a system. You sit in your house to register, and the system will show you that you are withdrawn. Sadly, you have young people who come to the university, and in their first trimester, they fail up to 6 courses, and they are not able to progress to the next level. And you are sad because the University for Development Studies is a proper university, where we want to give opportunity to young people to change their destiny moving into the future. Take it or leave it, education can provide you the opportunity to escape poverty. At least if you don't become rich, you'll be able to take the poverty boxes.
Yeah.
If you are able to pass through successfully and you are gainfully employed, you'll be able to take poverty boxes. At least 3 square meals a day will not be difficult for you. And you'll be able to understand from your left to right. But sadly, these students will come from poor homes, and they are not able to pass through the first trimester to the second because they can't perform well. And no matter what you do, they won't be able to make it. Why? Because it is the system that produced them to come to the university level.
The way they are. And so, essentially, what role do each play in this situation we are seeing in terms of the students and then the teachers and policy-wise? Who is to blame for the seeming disarray when it comes to our education sector?
The whole problem started when we abolished completely corporal punishment. Okay? No teacher can discipline a student. And if you remember, right after the abolishment of the corporal punishment, we're now hearing news of students bullying teachers instead of teachers bullying students.
Okay.
Students can now walk into the classroom with bathroom slippers. Students can dress any way they want to school. and you cannot raise your finger on them,
because
when you do, GES immediately will write in a letter sacking you from your school. So teachers now go to the school and focus more on their salary than shaping the student to become a better person in future. This behavior, these are the young people who are at the level. And when I went to the university now, the youngest person in my class in 2013 was 16 years, Dr. Endora. She was 16 years. So
16.
Imagine someone at the university at 16 years without proper training or discipline at the senior high school. The misbehavior. The misbehavior. And at the university, nobody hold a cane at you. Nobody will punish you. It is only at the post-secondary, that is the training colleges, where students still weed, students still are punished to kneel down. But at the university, nobody cares about whatever you do. And that is why it is easy to see students at the university in ghettos. Some of them smoking weed, some of them smoking alcohol, some of them into illicit drugs, some of them even into cocaine. You cannot train these people to come out properly. So what I think is that we should pay more attention at the basic level. We should make sure we bring back proper discipline at the senior high school level. We should only admit students who are qualified to progress at that level. When I know I need to pass or I need a result from aggregate 6 to 20 to progress to senior high school, and I don't want to shame my parents, I'll sit up and do well. But when you make me feel that any result that I acquire at the junior high school level, I can get a school, whether TVET, whether the normal senior high school, system, I won't even do well. Because I know at the end of the day, no matter my result, I'll get a school to attend. And I know also that I'm not going to pay school fees. Everything is going to be free. Have you forgotten the adage that people appreciate every little drop of water they use their own money to buy, or your water you carry? If you are paying for it, you appreciate it properly. But now we can't revert back to, payment of fees at the senior high school level. Fee-free has come to stay. But we can ensure discipline at that level and make sure there should be a cutoff point for students to progress to the tertiary institutions.
Okay, you think that it will make them see the importance of the education, not think that once you go through the system, you will be sent along that line. There's going to be an education forum. There's a planning committee currently working on it. What are your expectations of that committee? It was a major promise for the NDC, especially in the 120 days target set by John Mahama.
It is going to start tomorrow in the Volta region, and the minister will be leaving Accra today for Volta region tomorrow. And I am sure the stakeholders, I saw a circular on the UTAC platform where all professional bodies are invited to participate in the forum. I expect us not to do politics with it. I expect that we come up with honest discussions. Parents are given the opportunity to also participate. In this forum. So many things were happening at the senior high school level, but head teachers could not cry out for help. I have my daughter who is at the senior high school level, and there are two anyways at the senior high school level. One is going through the double track system, the traffic light. Currently, she's in a house, and I am supposed to register her for private classes until May.
So she's been in the house since when?
They went for break last month, and she's supposed to be in the house till May.
Till May?
Till May. So I am going
6 months?
Yes. So I am going to pay money to register her for extra classes for the 6 months. Indirectly, I am paying fees because she should have been in school and come home at the same time as her colleagues at the other senior high schools. The elder sister is at Tamale Senior High School. And Tamale Senior High School, they are not into the double track system, but there is a challenge. Every term when they are reporting back to school, you have to pay 450 Ghana cedis then
for
feeding and furniture. But they will take this money and urge parents not to speak out, because if the government or education minister hears that,
they will be in trouble.
They will be in trouble. But they are doing it for the betterment of your ward and yourself. Because I would prefer to pay that money than seeing my daughter sit in the house for 6 months. For example, now I am not in Tamale, and my wife is also a busy person. So if she is alone in the house, imagine what she will be going through. She probably may even forget what she learned during her first term. Now, are we together?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of problems at the senior high school level, and I expect frank, discussions. The current education minister is one humble person who is different from the former. I am comparing him to the former because I know headmasters one time came up with issues of lavatories at the senior high school level. And the best answer the former education minister and former running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia gave them was that they should buy polythene bags for them to use at the senior high school whenever they want to attend to nature's call. I also remember in Tamale, he came for an education forum where a senior high school headmaster wanted to, add his voice to the problems at the senior high school, and he had to shut him down. I know Honorable Haruna Idrisu, the current education minister, won't do that. He's one humble person who will have the ear and will listen to every challenge that is going to be brought out, so we can all attend to the problems and find amicable solutions to them. And mind you, no policy survives without a policy document. And fee-free as we have now lacks a policy document. And for that reason, it is difficult to channel or difficult to target a route of financing the policy. So there's no stable source of financing for the fee-free policy as we have now. But the policy document will offer that opportunity. For example, when the MPP government introduced youth employment program, a fine policy, but it came without a policy document until when Nilante Van der Poel, the former sports minister, brought a policy document to Parliament, which was accepted, and they introduced the talk tax, a source they were using to pay, beneficiaries of the youth employment program as at then. So those are issues I expect to be discussed, and I am sure they will go beyond that and also discuss the John Dramani Mahama flagship free university education for first year students. Because if you are not able to, attend to the challenges of the free senior high school, I think implementing a free university first year education policy is going to be very difficult for us to handle.
Yeah, I mean, it's important that a foundation has been built, so you build upon it.
Right.
So that not, unless the foundation truly is problematic, that's when you'd have to bring it down and start from scratch. So, I mean, you've spoken passionately about education and everything. How did politics come in? When?
At a very younger age, before 18 years, I developed interest in politics. Okay. Because I realized that everything about the economy was now evolving around politics. Politicians were now they started controlling our system long ago, but it was not so obvious as compared to now. Now, you sit back and you tag politicians as thieves. You tag politicians in different names, but they control the system. Yeah. They control your salary. They determine how much you are paid. And so if you want the system to change, you also have to show interest and involve yourself in the game. Now, you want a school to be built in your community. Then you expect someone you see as a thief to build a school for you. You will need a voice. And I have always told people, I mean, when I hear people say, I am not interested in politics, I don't care who becomes president of Ghana, it shocks me to the bone. Because whether you vote or not, they will select a leader for you.
True.
Whether you participate in the system or not, when fuel prices are increased, you will not be exempted. Whether you participate or not, when they are going to implement a harsh policy, you'll be affected. Whether you participate or not, when they implement a good policy, you'll be a beneficiary of that policy. So how about also involving yourself in the game? If you are seeing the good ones, then you become the good one. If you are seeing the bad ones, you become the good one and change the system for better. I have always held a position that it should be opened now, the politics, for our imams and pastors to get themselves involved in it. Because these are people who lead us. And we all believe that they are leading us, through the right path. Yeah. Though I appreciate the fact that in every profession or in every system, we have the good and the bad ones. In as much as we have good, bad politicians, we have good, bad religious leaders. But if you have the good ones leading the system, who know much about the God who will punish us on the day of judgment, then they will know how to lead us well now. So I developed my interest in politics because I wanted to be part of the decision making. I want my voice to be heard positively, and I want to be part of the system to correct it for good. And that was when I developed interest in politics. And from then till now, I have not regretted participating in politics.
So you said when you started politics, you were under 18,
yes.
I believe?
Yes.
Okay, so are there any, for instance, instances where you can highlight us, you're also a communicator for the party, correct?
Yes, and I'm the current communication officer for the Tolon constituency.
Fantastic. Tolon, that's where Habib?
Yes, where Habib
Honorable
is the member of
Habib
parliament.
Idris,
Yes,
is from.
Yes.
What have been some of your highlights in terms of communication for the party?
Positive, negative?
Both of them.
Politics is a very slippery journey. Things you discuss behind the scenes or off air, many of them you cannot discuss it publicly.
Are they that dangerous?
Very, very. It is a rough journey.
Terrain.
It is a very rough terrain. Many of the things, you see, sometimes you have to use a diplomatic way to change the system.
Okay.
You remember once upon a time we had a president in Ghana called Professor Mills.
Yes.
Who unannounced will go to the GRA office and start shouting, expressing his disappointment on things that he saw on a work Anas Armiao, Anas dead. Yeah. Those who were looking at him, clapping and laughing and praising him were the same corporates who were captured under the camera. Okay?
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to go beyond the usual to be recognized. I read something before stepping into the studios where a party officer was lamenting on a WhatsApp platform about an appointment someone had. For example, watching from afar, you see Prof. Jampo many years ago, lambasting NDC left, right, center. Yes. And for just a year, he lambasted the MPP. Then he was qualified to become a CEO.
Yeah, I've heard some persons within the party say that.
The
neutrals, so-called, they say so-called neutrals, are getting positions ahead of the party members.
And this is a person who probably have never carried enemies of the political party. He's not seen as a party card-bearing member.
Yeah.
But you have gone through the rough edges. There is a community, for example, in the Tolon constituency. During the rainy season, you have to use a canoe to cross to them. But you are in the same constituency. And when you are using the canoe on a heavy rainy day, it will take you 4 hours from one side to the other to cross to the other side.
4 hours on
4 hours on a canoe. For Ogbandi is the only national executive who have ever crossed that, use the canoe from the one other side to that community. And these are largely farmers. And the white water passes through that community, when you are using a canoe, there's a higher possibility that the canoe can capsize.
Yeah.
You are risking your life.
Most often it's even overloaded.
Very well. And when the party comes to power, you are the only star man in the constituency. The young people think when you get an appointment, they will also be sorted. Sorted as in where I am coming from, young people don't look at appointments at the highest level. Most of them, their problems are school fees. They need someone who can get scholarships for them to pay school fees and have higher and also get higher education. Most of them, the highest portfolio they apply for is security, either at VRA or the university. They have no option, and you are the only person they rely on. But they will not understand that there are people they call financiers who on any other day will not use a party t-shirt, who on any day will not attend a rally, and the person will land a juicy position.
They are behind the scenes pushing buttons.
And when you come to their office, they ask you to even tell them who you are, because they are not part of the same ship that brought you to victory.
Yeah.
They were sitting in their air-conditioned rooms, pushing some monies out. Now, is there communication? Is it that you also have to go and sit back and look for money and sponsor? So when a party comes to power, they recognize you. There is someone who, since 1999, have been in a certain sector. He's never been part of any political rallies, and he's gotten promotion anytime any party comes to power. And today the person is a CEO at an agency. Someone nobody can speak about when it comes to politics in relation to the NDC party. Now, there are issues you discuss with probably your bosses or leadership, and they'll tell you, look, this person is so and so. And as a communicator, you go on air and attack the person they were insulting in secret. Then they take their hands off and leave you in a problem.
Yeah. And I mean,
you understand that?
In these times, how difficult has it been for communicators? Because we've seen agitations from different parts of the country. For instance, the very recent one, Ashaiman, I believe, there have been some agitations there. There's also been some agitations in Isaac Adongo's constituency, and some others as well, where they're talking about their question why their people have been ignored. Also, initially there were agitations over the NCA acting acting boss. They said he was not from their fold, and that he actually supervised the closure of Radio Gold, among others. But it turns out that he actually was not the person in that video, as has been told. But these times, as a party communicator, how difficult is it for you to try and convince the people that this is most likely a relay and the nominations will come? Maybe your preference is not in yet, but the nomination will come. How difficult has it been for you?
Personally, it hasn't been difficult for me to communicate to the grassroots, because we all have our expectations. For example, I know what I target. Many that I, from the beginning, was targeting were given to different people, right? But in my disappointment, I never got agitated. Because there are many things I have fought for with people in a competition, and I won. They didn't agitate. They allowed it to go. And they also bid their time, and it came. Most of the time, the agitation is coming from the leaders.
They hide behind it?
Some of them. And some of them, it is out of the love for you. There are times I receive calls from Tamale or from the constituency, and I have messages I can show you. Some will ask, should we bend ties? And ask them, for what?
For what?
For what? I don't want to tag my name to such vandalism or to such acts, because I know you know, we have labor laws in this country.
Yes.
If you want to employ me to do a job, some of the areas I targeted, for example, they needed lawyers to occupy those positions, and I'm not a lawyer. So why should I agitate for a space I am not qualified to enter?
Well,
Accept.
Maybe you are willing to learn.
For example, if for example you get a deputy position, probably you can learn through the system.
Okay.
Maybe the action someone would take to get his position, I may not be ready to involve myself in such an act. Some can go the extent of sending maybe threat messages to the leaders who are supposed to make the appointments. But I am not raised that way. Maybe I am raised in a certain way to get what I need with patience and give time some time.
So give time.
Right.
Now, we're just about wrapping up, but for instance, with regard to the communication and everything else, and the dynamics when it comes to voting and all that, we've seen the overwhelming performance of the NDC in this year, in the 2024 elections. But how is the NDC faring in the northern part of the country? I mean, the different regions up north. You know, in the past, it was such a stronghold. The NPP could not penetrate as much. But with time, apart from this wind of change that has swept through the country, we've seen that gradually the NPP was chipping away some of these fists that the NDC had over the regions up north.
The NDC, I think we put in efforts.
Okay.
But looking at the gap and the cease that we got in Parliament, it's not largely to our hard work.
Okay.
I think Ghanaians wanted change.
So you cannot solely blame it on. Yes. You cannot blame your victory solely on your hard work.
Not only on our hard work. Ghanaians wanted a change. Yeah. They wanted to send a signal to politicians, not only to the MPP, that you don't call their bluff. Right. I know many MPP friends of mine who voted for the NDC and sent me videos.
Wow.
But they will never leave the MPP as a political party.
Yeah.
Right. I know a lot of people who are neutrals, like Martin Pebu, for example. Yeah. He sat on national television and made a statement that he has never voted for the NDC party in his life, but he voted for the NDC in 2024. Now, that means we didn't get here because of only our hard work. We really worked hard, but we worked harder in 2020 than in 2024.
Really?
Oh, yes. We did a lot of work. And that is why the defeat of 2020 hurts me more than the defeat of 2016. Because in 2016, Ghanaians were ready for a change. They wanted a change.
You think it's a cycle?
Yes, because of the allegations of corruption against His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Yes.
And because of even power fatigue. Because looking at, going back to history, since 1992, we have given political parties 8 years each.
Yeah.
No matter how bad you rule these people or you lead them or you perform, they will renew your mandate at least for another 4 years, but reducing your numbers.
Yes.
But this victory is something we have never seen since 1992.
Close to 57%.
Close to 57%, with a gap of 1.7 million.
Yeah. With
it means that
over 180 seats in Parliament.
In Parliament. And it is only sending a signal to the NDC that Ghanaians can even take power from us and give us a gap of around 3 million. It is possible. Because we had never dreamt or we never believed there could be an election where an opposition party could defeat a party in power with a gap of 1.7. And let's not get it wrong. MPP didn't get everything wrong. In some areas, they did well.
Okay.
No party will come to power and at least get everything wrong At least you get some right and you get some wrong. But Ghanaian voter, they detest arrogance and lies.
Yeah.
When they know you are fooling them and you pretend as if you are the wisest, they would want to teach you a lesson. And they are not far from doing that for any political party within even your first term.
And you think that your party members and the government should keep that in mind?
Any friend or anybody who knows me or comes close to me and we discuss politics, ask them. I always have a position that Ghanaians gave us only one term. A 4-year mandate, pending renewal based on our performance and actions. But largely, the large portion of our performance will come from our character. How we handle the grassroots.
Okay.
How we respond to the grassroots.
So far, how are you faring with handling the grassroots? As a party, how do you think you're faring?
It's not been easy, but we are trying our best.
Okay.
Because the expectations are very high. They expect a certain magic to happen. For example, I get calls from my constituents who ask me, oh, doctor, they are giving appointments. Tolong constituency, we are yet to get an appointment. And I tell them that John Mama, at his disposal, have over thousands of appointments to make. So far, he has not even done up to 1% of appointments.
So calm down.
It is just a month and few days in office. Because he assumed office on the 7th of January.
Yes.
And what he has done so far, we can only appreciate that he is clearing a good path for a sound start. So calm down. Let's give him some time. There's still time. Within 3 months or 4, I am sure we are going to settle well. Some get their opportunity after even 2 years. Some, their own comes after 4 years. I mean, look at, Mustafa Hamid. He got their attention getting to the last minute of the government, though he was sent to Zongo Ministry and others. But the ideal place,
as the first information.
Yes, but the ideal place, even if you ask him, he occupied, was at MP as CEO.
Yeah.
He got it in the last minute, right?
Yeah.
I have a friend who is the former NDA, CEO. I mean, former SADA. He got the
Northern
opportunity.
Development Authority.
Yes, he was appointed in 2023. He served in the office for only 1 year and the party exited power. But no matter how short you served, you finally got that opportunity to serve.
And you have to ensure you make an impact.
You have to make sure you make an impact. So Ghanaians won't have the patience to wait for 4 years to pass a judgment. And when you look at the number they gave us, it is so huge, so much so that who 2027. Because in 2026, we should be lacing our boots to select a new presidential candidate going to 2028.
Yeah.
And his actions now is going a long way to help us win 2028 smoothly or affect us in 2028.
Well, I mean, this conversation can go on and on and on, but unfortunately, time is not our ally. But it's been great having this conversation with you, and very profound things to say, especially the latter part, that especially this time, it is more about the party than the man John Dramani Mahama.
Right.
Whatever he does will also have a bearing on the party's fortunes come 2028.
Getting to the last minute of our 2024 campaigns, I was telling friends that if you have NDC paraphernalia and you have a T-shirt of John Dramani Mahama picture on it, give it out. Because you won't be needing it in 2028. Because he will end his tenure in 2028. Yes. And so by 2026, we'll be printing new T-shirts.
Hey.
2026, we'll be printing new T-shirts. Because we will have to, at all costs.
Yes.
We should be going to 2028 with a different.
Do you foresee it causing a certain level of rancor within the party? Because there's so many names coming up in terms of potential successes and all. Isn't it too early for such things to be making the rounds?
It's not too early. It's not. There's no time at all. There's no time at all. John Mama will only serve effectively, 2-3 years.
Okay.
2-3 years.
So effectively 2025 to 2027?
2027.
Yeah. So 2028 will be lame.
Even by next year.
2028
getting to the end of next year, your mama powers will be coming down.
It will be coming down.
Because you see, the thing is, if it comes to that time, and we select a new presidential candidate, and you don't pick your position around the presidential candidate, and you just sit with,
you will be lost.
You will be lost in the next government.
It's interesting because we had a conversation, a chat around this. I mean, one of our newspaper review segments where we were talking about it, that it's very complex because even those serving now are looking over their shoulders and checking who is next to come in
and pitching
to
cards
ensure that
with potential candidates.
Yes, they are also in their good books, so that if they come in 2028, they are able to benefit. Like how we saw some people who served in the Kufuor administration also serve in the Akufo-Addo administration as well. Yes. So it's very, very interesting. It's a very interesting dynamic we're seeing within the NDC. Thank you so much, Dr. Seidu Fiter.
It's a pleasure.
He's an assistant lecturer, UDS, and also a member of the NDC National Communication Team. This conversation was absolutely interesting. Thank you. Thank you once again. And we're just about wrapping up on the Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM.